went to the Super Bowl last year, and everybody seems to think you have a better roster this year. Tell me about how you got to this roster opening up camp this week.
Well, that's a credit to Duke, just how this team's been built over the last couple of years. We've been really pleased with it, adding the right people into the mix that have great football character, great work ethic. They're talented on top of that, which is usually pretty good in this league. So this year, adding some offensive linemen who have great experience in this league, won Super Bowls, played a lot of games, have the right mentality. Adding Hayden Hurst has been huge as well. We think he's a great weapon for how we want to attack people on offense. So just overall, feel like we've made some good moves there that put us in a really good position to hit the ground running here in training camp.
Following a Super Bowl run, with adding players that have been to the Super Bowl, how much pressure does that add to you as a coach, knowing that you have the roster?
We don't feel that pressure. There's a pressure every single year. So the type of team you have really doesn't make much difference to me. We always have high expectations for ourselves and high standards. We want guys who have been in the mix of being in the hunt for championships, whether at the college level or the pro level, because they understand the mentality and the work ethic that comes with that. They understand that no rep can be wasted, whether it's a walkthrough or a training camp rep or a week 5 practice rep. They know that you got to treat them all the same. And so we try to build our team with those types of personalities and character that understand no moment can be wasted during an NFL season.
How is the feeling in the locker room and among the coaching staff this year compared to this time last year?
Well, I think we were excited about our team last year. We felt like we had good pieces in place. It's always an unknown of when it's going to come together and how it's going to gel. Does it happen week 2 of training camp? Does it happen week 2 of the regular season? Those are just things you can never predict. This year's no different. We know that there will be some adversity that comes at us, some way, shape, or form. It's unpredictable what it's going to look like. But we know that if we handle it the right way, it'll make us stronger as the season goes, and we can continue to build off some of those things that come at us. And we've got the right team to be able to handle that kind of stuff.
Given that as a rookie, Joe came in and you had COVID going on and all that. Then last year he's walking around in a brace, and you got to be careful with him and the preseason games and all that. Now it's full go. Off season for him, spring training, OT, everything. How much better can this guy get? Can he get better?
I think he's got high expectations for himself, as we all do. Every experience he has in this league is only going to help shape him moving forward, and he's approached them all the right way. I think the biggest thing for him is to help integrate some of these new pieces that we have on our team. That's part of the quarterback's job, is to incorporate all these new rookies and all these veterans and make sure that they understand how it works here in Cincinnati and what the standard is, because the coaches aren't around these guys all hours of the day. At some point you got to have the leadership in the locker room that can help take these guys aside and make sure that they're up to speed as quickly as possible. And that's a big job of the quarterback, is to make those around him better. And Joe does a great job of that, and that's part of his job that he's got to take on right now in training camp.
You talked early in the offseason, Zach, about the idea that even though you made the Super Bowl, it doesn't mean you get a leg up on everybody else. You go back to 0-0 just like everyone. But isn't there a little bit of an advantage to a team having the confidence, the continuity that this team has to get to that point last year and have it carry over again this year?
I think experience matters. When you've been in those moments and you understood how hard it was to get there, I think that's the biggest thing, as you avoid making predictions in this time of the year, which is popular with every team. Everyone wants to make predictions, but our guys understood how much work went into it, how difficult it was, and what was required to overcome some really challenging moments. And so that part fits you well. It makes you excited as a coach that you have a lot of guys on this team that experience together. We've added guys who've been through that on other teams, and that's good to learn from those guys as well, kind of what their experiences were, other places that they've been.
The motto is, it's still about us. What does that mean to you, it's still about us?
Yeah, all that matters is what happens inside of our building. The noise is always going to fluctuate and change outside the building, whether it be from the media or fans or national, whatever it is. All that matters is that we know the work we're putting in through the good and the bad times, that we can block out all that noise and just focus on what's important, and that will remain unchanged for us.
Is it different than though obviously you were the hunter last year, you'll be the hunted this year? I mean, big surprise team last year for many. Does it feel different? Is there a different mentality as you open up camp as the defending AFC champions?
I don't think so, because I want to believe that early in the season last year people saw a good team on tape, and maybe it takes a while with your record and for it to take shape nationally. That doesn't really matter to us. What matters is that we put a good team on film and we execute, and I like to think that teams probably saw that internally in their own buildings, and so they knew what type of team we were. But again, it's on us to start over and continue to build on some of the things that we can take from previous years. But again, not skip any steps, not skip any installs, not assume our players know something because they've been here before. And so we really got to start over in a lot of ways this training camp and make sure that we leave no stone unturned as we continue our quest towards a great 2022 season.
You mentioned blocking out the outside noise. It's obviously there. Madden ratings come out. Jamar is outside the top 10. He tweets about it, saying he's motivated. When players are motivated for different types of things like that, what is that reception like among the coaching staff?
Guys get their fuel from a lot of different places, and so that part doesn't matter to us. We just want guys that work hard, focus on the right things. Where they get their motivation from is really insignificant to me. I don't pay much. I'm aware of that kind of stuff, but don't pay it too much mind.
What would your Madden rating be as a coach?
I don't know. Scary. My speed would be scary, that's for sure.
I do want to ask, there's a couple of big name guys you got in the offseason. Kappa, Collins, who don't appear they're going to be ready for training camp. Is there any concern that these guys is going to linger and be a long-term thing for especially my?
No, it's our job with these veteran guys who have experienced some of this before. Alex is coming off the surgery, so we got to ease him into training camp. He feels really good. He's been out there working with the trainers now. Same with LC. LC's dealt with minor injuries before as well. So it's our job as a staff to monitor him through training camp, ease him in the right way, and know that when we need to get some work out of these guys, we'll start making those decisions. But feel good about where both those guys are at.
Do talk about them needing to gel, or because you don't know. It's 3 new pieces on the offensive line, but them being veterans and have been doing this, is that going to come a little easier, you think? Not really something not to be concerned about.
You just don't want to take it for granted, but they know how to approach this stuff. They know how to work around it in meetings and get some of those interactions in meetings that are going to be maybe replacements of what they would have gotten in the field in the first couple of days of practice. So I trust those guys. Those guys have great football character. They know what it takes. They know what work they need to get their bodies right and their minds right for the start of the season. That's the advantage of having veteran guys up there on the offensive line because they both talk every day and their lockers are near each other, and so I've got a lot of faith that we'll be able to get that chemistry to where it needs to be by the time the season starts.
You guys talk about starting over this season. How much will you use what happened at the end of the year when the Super Bowl as motivation, or are you guys just putting that out of your mind?
Well, it pops up. We show cut-ups from throughout the season, and there's clips from Week 4, Week 12, Super Bowl game that come up, as we watch every day with our players. And, a lot of guys didn't experience that with us. And so, again, we've got to turn the page and focus on a new year. What happened last year, we'll take some of those experiences and let them make us a better football team. But at the same time, we got to really turn the page and approach 2022 as a new year.
With the current Jesse Bates situation, how does that affect what Daxel's first training camp looked like?
He's got to take advantage of the reps that maybe he would not have otherwise gotten. And so, you got to look at the bright side of things. You got a young player who's going to get a lot of opportunities. He's going to get as many reps as he could have ever hoped for. And when Jesse comes in, to learn from Jesse's experience, because Jesse's a great leader, a great player. Same with Von Bell, So we really feel like we've got the right people in the back room to help get the most out of some of those younger guys as well. And I'm excited to see those guys in action.
Zach, you don't change whether it's a bad season, a good season. I think that's a great attribute for a coach. You keep it on an even keel. But when you get in front of the team now, as opposed to the previous seasons, you got a Super Bowl run behind you. Is there a little bit for you there that, hey, I do know how to make this thing work?
I don't want to change who I am. I think players see right through that. I've always been confident in myself and our coaching staff that despite some of the adversity we faced and lack of success in the win-loss column, that we were making the progress that ultimately was going to be needed to set up a great foundation for the future. And I think that's what we're seeing now. We've got to continue to build on that. But that's just part of having confidence in how we're going about things. And I think our players have seen that from the beginning. Obviously, you're always going to face some adversity when you have that many people in the locker room. But over time, I think the guys have really bought in, and we have the right people in there that believe in what we're doing and have really seen this vision throughout. And that's been important for us to be able to endure those first 2 years that were difficult and get to where we are today.
Do you think people look at the Bengals differently? Do you even care if people look at the Bengals differently?
I don't care, but I know that there are people that do care. The fan base wants the respect. The players want the respect. I get that. That's part of being a pro sports. But again, it's important for us to shutter all that out when the time comes and just focus on what we need to do to get better.
What's your opinion on the new helmets?
I'm opinionless. That's the kind of thing that doesn't really. Everybody loves them. All the kids love them. The players love them. The fans love them. It seems like everybody in the universe likes them, and so that's great for that to happen. I don't really usually give my opinion on that kind of stuff because I'm very indifferent on what it all looks like.
But your kids love them.
I usually wear gray on gray. My wife kills me for wearing the same thing every single day. So I think my opinion is the last you want to hear on any wardrobe attires.